What's going on, everybody? I go by the name of Kari, and I want to thank you guys for joining me here today on SneakerPhetish. We hear a lot of the same phrases in the sneaker community all the time. If you guys know, like I know, some of the same words and buzzwords and key phrases get used over and over again. One of my favorites is, "This shoe is growing on me." But today, we're taking a look at the latest Air Jordan that, in all honesty, grew on me. And I'm here to talk about why you probably should have gotten a pair if you didn't get one. Without further ado, let's get into it. Boom. And there it is, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Air Jordan 3 Patchwork. I was really on the fence with these sneakers. When I first saw pictures of them, you had that knee-jerk reaction that's like, I like these or I really don't like these. And with these, I truly was like, I don't know, it could go either way. So I kind of bought these on a whim, to be honest with you guys, because I saw a lot of people kind of were sitting on them. A lot of people weren't really feeling them. They did exclusive access on this shoe as well, which piqued my interest some. But again, it looked like a lot of people weren't feeling them. But I'm really glad that I actually ended up pulling the trigger on them and being able to get these. So let's dive a little deeper into the shoe, and then we'll talk a little bit about why I'm glad that they did this sneaker the way that they did it. All right, starting with the upper of the shoe, nothing different about the silhouette in and of itself. However, we have to get right into the materials that were used in the inspiration behind the shoe. Now, according to the Sneakers app, the inspiration behind this shoe is surplus stores. And of course, patchworks like quilts and things like that are taking different pieces of other fabrics and kind of blending them together in this weird kind of hodgepodge that actually came together looking pretty dope. All right, now the first thing that I want to talk about are the different types of camouflages that are used primarily in the upper of this sneaker. The first one we're going to talk about is the woodland camo. Now, the woodland camo, that's this green, black, brown camo. Honestly, is probably the most common camouflage that we know, especially here in the United States. This is typically what we've seen on most military uniforms. It was adopted, I believe, in 1981. Some people call it M81. And it was used on a lot of battle dress uniforms, I believe, until sometime in the 2000s. It was used for a very, very long time. Now, the second type of camo that I want to talk about is the raindrop camo, right here in the eyelets of the shoe here, that's also known as stretch tarn. Now, that raindrop camo is not only on the lateral side of the right shoe, but it's also on the medial side right here in the quarter panel of the right shoe as well. Now, it's also in different places on the other shoe. We'll get to that in a moment. But the reason why I really like the raindrop camo is because it's so unorthodox. It actually was used by East Germany dating all the way back to the 1960s. Now, the third type of camouflage is very interesting to me because the Sneakers app says that oak bark camo is used on this shoe. But frankly, I didn't see that anywhere. So you can sound off down in the comments and let me know where the oak bark is. But what I do see, that even though the Sneakers app didn't mention it, is desert camouflage. Now, the desert camouflage is seen right here, down right above the midsole. It's also on the medial side of the shoe right here in the eyelets. Now, desert camouflage lasted a little bit longer than the woodland camouflage. It lasted, I believe, into like the 2010s, but originated, I believe, back in the 1990s, but super, super popular. One of the more popular camouflages that are out there. So in my opinion, I don't see the oak bark camo. I actually see the desert camo. And sometimes sneakers is not 100% right about these things, or again, I might be the one that's wrong. Who knows? Now, outside of the camouflage patches themselves, you also have different patches of other colors and other materials as well. You have everything from this canvas material here to twill materials, a little bit of suede, it feels like, in there. So many different materials all over the upper of the sneaker. It's beautiful. I really like the way that it all came out, to be honest with you. Taking the top down look at the shoe here, you also see more of that wax canvas in the toe box of the shoe here. Regular black laces coming to the shoe here, but of course we get extras. We'll talk about that in a minute. And I really like the way that they did this tongue. Now, this tongue is what they call a herringbone pattern. We've seen the herringbone traction pattern on the bottoms of sneakers like the Jordan 11s, but now we get a herringbone pattern on the tongue of the shoe. Now, the tongue is also really dope to me because you have this darker brown herringbone on the bottom half of the tongue and this lighter brown herringbone on the top half of the tongue. Of course, that's also offset by this dark green stitch jump, man. And on the back of the tongue here on the tongue tag, instead of it saying Air Jordan, it just has more of that herringbone pattern. It's really dope. But look around that tag and you'll see you have this beautiful orange satin lining on the back of the tongue there. As if the materials weren't already nice enough, we got satin inside of the shoe as well. Orange satin on the back of the tongue, and then this greenish, kind of brownish looking satin all inside of the shoe, around the sock liner and around the inside collar of the shoe. That's beautiful. When I first got this shoe in hand and I saw that this was satin inside of the lining of this sneaker, blew me away. Now, one thing I also want to point out before we get off of the upper of the sneaker is that the upper is different on the left and the right shoe. The places where the camouflage are differ not only from the left and right shoe, but from the lateral and medial side on each individual sneaker. To me, it gives me kind of a what the, but this is a more subtle what the, because the materials and the theming is still consistent throughout both of the sneakers. They just place the materials and the camouflage patches in different places. So I really like the way that they did that. Moving around to the heel of the shoe here. First of all, can we talk about how beautiful all of these colors seem to kind of come together, kind of these four corners. I always love the design of the Air Jordan 3 because of the way the panels come around. But let's look at the panel right here in the middle. You basically have a wool back tab here, but right in the middle here where the Jumpman is, you'll notice that the Jumpman is stitched, but it's surrounded by what's called hook and loop material. Those regular people like us call it Velcro. But the dope thing about the Velcro being on the back of this shoe here is that this sneaker actually comes with two Nike Air patches. Now, this is one of the first times I've ever seen this done on a Jordan 3. You guys can remind me if this has ever been done before, where you can actually change out whether or not you want the Jumpman on the back of your threes or the Nike Air on the back of your threes. But this was incredible. I love the way that they did that. It's wild because it's a lot of people's preference to have the Nike Air on the back of their Air Jordan 3s and not the Jumpman. Some people feel like the Jumpman doesn't make it a real Air Jordan 3. To each his own. But now Nike actually gave you the ability to do Nike Air on the back of your threes if that's what you want to do, giving you kind of that OG-ish flair to this patchwork design, all going in with that patch design. I love the way that they did that. This sneaker continues to blow me away, but there's more. Before we can be done with the back panel of the shoe here, we actually have to flip up the back panel of the shoe here to reveal a little bit of extra information here. Now, on the right shoe, it says Holiday 21, multi-textile 0001, a little bit of verbiage like that. And on the back of the tab on the left shoe, it actually says Air Jordan 3 Special Projects. Very, very dope. It's like Easter egg after Easter egg after Easter egg on this shoe. It's crazy. On the outsole of the shoe, you have the sailish kind of midsole, outsole here with the orange Jordan emblem, and then with the orange here at the top of the foot, giving me very much Undefeated 4 vibes. And on the insole of the shoe here, black insole with the orange Jumpman on the heel. You're also gonna get two extra sets of laces here. You have kind of this lighter brown set, and then you have the orange set if you want that pop of color. And that's pretty much it when it comes to the Air Jordan 3 Patchwork. Guys, listen, this sneaker, the more that I hold it, the more that I have it, the more that I like it. This sneaker is very well done. Quality is on point. QC is on point. All the good things that we like to talk about are on point. But the thing that's the most on point about this sneaker that I appreciate from Jordan Brand, and why I don't understand why we don't see this more, is the fact that this was not a collaboration. If this sneaker happened to be the Undefeated, like a lot of people thought that it was, because, you know, in these days and age, leaks are everywhere. So we got information that this color coding and this color scheme with the brown and the orange was coming soon. And a lot of people thought originally that it was an Undefeated Jordan 3. If that had happened, these would have flown off the shelves. All of a sudden, it would have been everybody's grails. Everybody would have been a must-have on these, and it would have been hard to get. But because that wasn't the case, that made people that really wanted the shoe able to get the shoe. Right now, if you try to get these on StockX, you're not going to pay much over retail, if over retail at all. And I'll be honest with you guys, the more we let these sit, they're probably going to end up being under retail price or even at outlets. But I like that because this is a really well-made shoe. It didn't need a collaboration. It didn't need another name on it in order to stand on its own. Now, from a brand perspective, it probably didn't sell as much as they wanted it to sell, but it did sell out on the Sneakers app. I'm sure we're going to see some restocks somewhere in the future. But for now, it's just a really dope shoe that if this is your thing, if you're into camo, if you're into these types of prints or more earth tones, you could easily pick up. But then you have sneakers like the Off-White Air Jordan 2 Chicago, and may he rest in peace to Virgil Abloh. I don't think that this sneaker needed to be an Off-White collaboration. Imagine if this sneaker were standing its own as a regular Air Jordan release without the Off-White stamp and without the zip tie on here. Maybe less people would have bought the sneaker because it wouldn't have been as hyped up, but that means that people that really appreciated the Air Jordan 2 or the story of the Air Jordan 2 really would have been able to get their hands on them. But now, partially because of the hype and partially because of his untimely passing, this sneaker is easily going to cost you over $1,000. Whereas this shoe, which is really, really dope, thank goodness it wasn't a collaboration, is only going to cost you about $200 to maybe $250. Now, no, I'm not trying to compare the Off-White Jordan 2 with a Jordan 3 Patchwork. That's not what I'm doing here. But the point that I'm trying to make here is that we all know in this day and age, hype drives everything, and collaboration tends to drive hype. So I'm thankful to Jordan Brand this time around that they didn't go the hype route, that they went with an organic route and just put their own name on it, because in my opinion, That's all that you needed for this shoe. It's dope as it is. And honestly, I think it's a must cop. I think a lot of people are going to regret not getting these and are going to end up spinning the block back a second time to pick up a pair somewhere down the line. Hopefully you're able to get your hands on a pair if you're trying to go for them. All right, guys, that's pretty much all that I got to say about these. Now it's time for you guys to sound off down in the comments. Let me know what you guys think about the Air Jordan 3 Patchwork. Are these ones that were on your must cop list? Did you pick up a pair from exclusive access? Did you pick up a pair on the retail release? Or were these a hard pass because there are 10 other sneakers that you're trying to get your hands on? Sound off down below. Let me know. Of course, write it down in the comments. Make sure that you click on that subscribe button so we can welcome you into the Sneaker Fetish family to make sure you don't miss out on any more heat that comes through like these, because I guarantee you I got a lot more heat on the way. As always, I want to thank you guys for joining me here on Sneaker Fetish, taking a look at these with me, unboxing them with me for a couple of minutes. I go by the name of Kari. This is the Air Jordan 3 Patchwork, and until next time, I'm out.